Good morning. My name is Scott Rudler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Lab.com.
And I'm Brittany Umar, and together we bring you Morning Call. So we're seeing mixed markets around the world again this morning, with as Europe tries to build a floor. The Shanghai hit 5-month lows, and the Nikkei was down about 1.5%. Our market's trying to build a floor as well. Scott, how do you think we are setting up for coming sessions now that the noise about that first 5 days of January is behind us?
It was definitely a weird dynamic about the first 5 days just because how strong we closed. There was a lot of excess from that last week and a half in 2013 on top of what was an unbelievably strong year. As far as overseas, as far as the markets are concerned, Europe, which was very strong, also had some profit taking, and now it's trying to stabilize and build a floor. You can look at the quick chart of the EWG, and that is, relates to Germany, and you could see how it came down quick and just took back that last week of excess, and now it's trying to build a floor. And I do believe it's up a little bit, so if you want to trade versus 30.50, that's fine. As far as the FXI, still disappointing, still can't find the friend. I've talked about focusing on it. I played the options that did not work. I haven't been back since, because it's not really showing you. You got a little bit of support down here, but overall not that interesting. If you want to do a long-term year or two approach and accumulate the FXI every single month, I do at some point think you go to the monthly chart on the FXI and you will get a breakout above this 41 for a nice move, but that's, you're talking longer term. Right now it hasn't given you that trade. And then as far as our markets are concerned, I think that, the trends are strong, the trends are intact. You could look at, I always try to identify to see if anything's different. You have this macro trend that's not even pressured. Okay, so if you're a monthly investor, here's your intermediate trend that we followed all of last year, didn't get close. And now this is that accelerated trend that everyone wants to navigate for alpha and P&L and be, so savvy about, which is cool. I do the same thing, but overall, that was your first day of the year, and then we came in, held above the 21-day, held above the prior pivot, and just going sideways here. So with that being said, we're up a little bit. We're now a pebble throw away from 1849, which could be tested tomorrow if we don't get too hot of a jobs number.
Well, meanwhile, lots of stocks have continued to work well in this market. High beta tech has been mixed, but starting with Google, anyone who's stuck with that trend is happy because it just keeps trending higher above its 8-day.
Every time frame. If you're an investor in Google, congratulations. If you looked at the quarter last time they reported and said, you know what, I want to look and stay with the strong trend, you look at this chart, you look at the gap up here was very, very nice, and it's just trended ever since. There's not much to say here except for stay with it as long as it stays above the 8-day moving average. And
how about Amazon? It actually woke up a bit yesterday, so what do you think about heading into today?
This looked a little faulty. A few days back, I actually made cute money short, and that's what you have to do sometimes with these things, just be cute, because if you stay too long, you get ugly. And, bounce back really well. Sometimes these things have setups, like there's no real setup in Google, but I do think there's a momentum setup here in Amazon, but it always is tricky. You look at the chart here, and you will see, it's coming right back to the high. So anytime a stock like Amazon that's high valuation, heavily shorted, it becomes a pressure cooker spot. So with that being said, if it can get through and stay above 404, 405 with authority, maybe you get a clean breakout for the active trader. And if you're in there with a tier 1 playing for that, maybe that's your tier 2 add, and then you trim and trail as it breaks out.
Now, we had talked about a tactical long reversal in Netflix, which we actually got yesterday. So now what for today?
Yeah, today it's a little trickier. Yesterday it opened down $4 and went up $4 in like a blink, so you had to be really prepared. To me, it still has a lot to prove. It's somewhat of a broken name. You look at the chart here and you'll see this is when this, we broke below this accelerated trend, then it hung below, and then you had downside follow through. So yesterday, this doesn't look like much, but in short-term active land, that was a nice reversal here. It actually went about 10 points above the prior day low, and that's even as it was lower. So with that said, here's your new point of reference to trade against 336. Perhaps if it could hold above there for a little bit of time, then maybe above this 347, you get a gap fill for another trade to about 352, but then you're going to have a lot of resistance there. So it's not a go-to stock, but there are some setups.
We are seeing some decent action in Baidu as well. Looks like it's trying to hold. What level does it need to?
Baidu, every time it breaks out, sometimes it's clean and then reverses, but whatever, can't even get into it too much except for that, just like Amazon, here there was a setup. We talked about 180, 181. It busted through it, another high valuation stock, and gave you a quick trade, but you had to actually be quick on your feet because it faded. You look at the chart here, it broke above this 181-ish, went as high as 184.87. So that's a nice tactical trade for the active day trader with the 3, 5, 15-minute charts. Or if you're an investor and you've been holding it as long as this trend, above the 50-day continued, you're fine. So with that said, it's always trickier at highs, but it's still in motion. Today, I don't really see a setup.
Well, you might want to put Chipotle on your watch list because it looks like this one's getting pretty tight. What level does it need to clear to pick up some momentum?
Yes, this one is a loose stock, but anytime it gets tight, you pay attention because if it breaks out, it goes. It's that type of momentum name. You look at the chart here, you will see here is that tight pattern. Start to close near the highs towards the end of the day. You have 530. What is this? 537 would be a breakout if it trades through 537 with volume. I don't think this high here of 550 is going to be a problem.
All right, we're coming up. We're going to go in the trenches with some social media stocks, but first a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Mark Sperling, Director of Trading with T3 Trading Group and contributor to T3 Live. Do you trade on your own, but you wish you enjoyed the benefits of a large trading floor? With the T3 Live virtual trading floor, we deliver that experience to you on your computer. On the VTF, you can follow the long and short positions of experienced professional traders like myself, Scott Redler, and others, and listen to our live radio stations as we navigate the markets. In addition, you get the added value of a large community of sophisticated and like-minded traders. In my opinion, joining the room will be the best trading decision you will ever make. I would like to invite you to begin your membership with a 7-day free trial. To get started, visit t3live.com and click on the Virtual Trading Floor tab. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the VTF.
We're back and going in the trenches with social media stocks. We're seeing some active action here as well as some mixed action. We have actually Yelp already back at highs, and if you pay attention to off the charts, you might have caught a piece of this one, right?
And I think a lot of people did because we've gotten a lot of thank you emails. It was a tricky trade. I tried to do it, and there was so many false starts that I just got away from it. So if you just had your stop there, you might have even just closed your eyes and made more money that way. Seems like a lot of that happened in 2013. You buy something, close your eyes, you make more money than if you traded it. So anyway, you look at the chart here, clean breakout at highs. This was that breakout level above 70. Then this time it did not fail, and it continued. Now it's at highs. It's probably opening up today. If you were long from here, this is your spot to take some off, in my opinion, and then see if it sets up again.
Meanwhile, Facebook's holding near highs. Can I power through them?
This is it's a nice setup. Facebook's been a great trader, and we talked about it last year with Kramer that I can go back to the IPO highs. Here we are today at highs once again. So anyway, with that being said, let's not live in the past. Let's talk about the future. And right now, it's holding higher, knocking on the door of prior highs. This was 2 quarters ago, that gap and go that gave you a nice clean move. Here's that red dog reversal. Write this down. Look at this pattern. This started that last move. So this was that reversal at 44.04. Another nice clean trend. Looked a little wishy-washy here. Back on track. So now, the longer it stays above this 8-day moving average of 57-ish, I think the higher the probability we get another nice add-on trade above 58.55 for the road of 60++.
Meanwhile, Twitter trying to find support, but there's still some nice two-way action here to be found, right?
Yeah, I haven't been shorting this one, but I think more people are trying to be short than long. I've been just staying away. And we had that wedge pattern that wound up getting resolved to the downside. So I just stayed away, and some people were able to make money. So it is what it is. This was your clean move above 42, and then above the what was it, the IPO high here of about 50-ish, and this I was involved in. So anyway, here I'm trying to figure out what's next. You had your engulfing bar here, some downside follow through into a downgrade. Today it's downgraded again. So I might look at it today to see if it goes from red to green. 57.92 is yesterday's low. If it can't get back above that, then perhaps, it could see this 54 to 55 range, which to me would be a really nice viable support area.
How about LinkedIn? The stock reversed on Tuesday back above 202. Will this be on your watch list to see if it can build upon that?
This one, that day was exciting because, it was down for multiple weeks. It got downgraded, and then that's what creates a nice setup for a long. And you look here, and now the question is what's next? You had your wide range bar down, okay? It opened up, gave you some follow through, and then closed off a little bit. It's still in a downtrend since the highs here. It's still digesting. It's still in a corrective phase. On the longer term weeklies, it looks okay. So if you look here now, tactically, I would say for this to build, you want to see it stay above yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is 207.54. So as long as it stays above this, maybe there's another little trade here if it were to take out this highs to retrace back up to this bigger downtrend, and that's when the big boys will come out to play.
How about Zynga? Not one of the big boys, but trying to keep itself in the game. Is this one that you'll look to at all?
I'm in a little bit. I'm not even going to show the chart. It's got to stay above 410 to stay at all interesting.
All right, well, let's do some quick hits here and talk Apple. We had Apple reverse on Monday, get back above the 50-day and held above it. So what now?
It's got the slower pivot. It's looking a little bit better. It held the trend, and now the question is, can you get follow-through? And with Apple, since the China Mobile deal, it's been hard to find any follow-through. So today feels like it could be a little different. Here's the trend since the double bottom there over the summer. It's been supported many times along it besides nice breakouts. So the question is, can you get another breakout right here? I hope so. It'll make the next week or so a lot more fluid. Anyway, with that being said, 545 to 546 is that level. If it could break above there with some authority, I think that would be good. I am long a little bit of this. I was long some of the other names too. You can check it out on my disclosure on the bottom. But the bottom line is I think that this could be an add, and a close above 546 today would be helpful.
How about over in 3D printing stocks? We always talk 3D Systems and Stratasys, but the smaller player X1 is already acting a lot better this year.
Yeah, a lot of the smaller ones have come back after the tax law selling. VJet looks okay. X1, I guess it has a little bit more followers since it's been public a little bit more. You have a nice little flag here. Perhaps this gets above this 69 for action. And then you have this other little guy, Onvo, which gets some volume spikes, had a really nice move, held where it had to, closed strong. This too looks like if the lower level 3D names want to stay in vogue, this could take out that $12. And I think at some point it's a very spec name. It could see new highs above that area at some point this year.
And optical play Sienna is showing some signs of life here. Is this one on your radar?
Yes, I actually bought this yesterday. Someone's like, oh, look at the optical plays, look at JDSU, look at Sienna, look at FNSR. And that's what happens when people are looking for things to do. When you look at the chart here, there's a reason, okay? Closing the highs through a level. So the chances are, the question is, can it get some follow through? I hope so. Looks okay. JDSU doesn't look as good. But, these laggard trades are sort of coming back, and they still have a little bit of room.
Got to talk Sony had its most potent day in quite some time. What are you doing with this?
Well, I got long yesterday. It was really strong. The question is, was it up too much yesterday, and does it need an extra day or session in order to digest it? But overall, good day one. Looks real strong here. Broke this downtrend with authority. You go to your basic studies, you go to your volume, and you plug that in. There was volume attached. So I'd say hopefully if this could stay above 1790, I'm going to stay long. And then if it were to get through yesterday's high of 1832, I might add for a move to at least 19 or so.
And Tesla was on the move yesterday. What are the key levels you're watching here?
Tesla went quick, went through that 150.40 we talked about, but then fizzled. Question is, it's not the biggest deal. We were down 70 points in the Dow or whatever. So at this point, I still think it's acting okay. It's trying to poke its head above there. It's not the momentum Tesla of old yet, but I still think if it stays above 150, be long it. If it were to get above yesterday's high of 153.70, perhaps add for a move back to this trend line that comes in a little bit closer to 160.
All right, so tell us, how will you be approaching the trading session today?
Well, just like yesterday, I'm coming in with, I think, 10 plus long, so I just want to manage them. If they're acting well, I could add. If they look like it's a trim, I want to trim. I have the jobs number tomorrow, so I have to figure out what type of exposure. We still have claims today, yesterday. The Fed minutes came out and, pretty much said what we thought, that, the economy's getting a little bit better, that the QE is starting to, I guess, wear off. So, lots of indications that they're going to start reducing the pace of purchase, but not in a way to scare the you-know-what out of everyone. So with that being said, we went over the trends, we went over the sectors, and lots of the same type of scenarios we've been watching for the past year are intact. And if that changes, we'll change. But until that happens, portfolio approach, take trades, quick feet, know your time frame, and figure it out.
There you go. And with that said, happy trading, everybody. Have a great day.